Hello and welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Thelma Okuru. A federal high court sitting in Abuja on Monday stalled the proceedings of the suit filed by the former National Security Advisor Sambo Dasuki to stop the siege on his home by the DSS due to the absence of the Attorney General of the Federation. The court on Friday had ordered the Department of State Services DSS to allow Dasuki to travel out of the country for medical treatment. However, despite the court's orders, officials of the DSS sustained the siege to Colonel Dasuki's home, preventing him from traveling. In the continued hearing on Monday, the judge, Justice Adeni Ademola, held that the matter would require the AGF Abubakar Malami's presence to continue. However, counsel to AGF Tayo Obidogu asked the court for extra time so that his client, who is still new in office, can prepare better for the case. His application for extra time was unopposed by the lawyer to Dasuki. The judge then postponed the trial till November 23rd. The Nigerian Senate has mandated its committees on finance, banking and other financial institutions to carry out a full investigation into an alleged 25 billion excess earned by an e-collection agent remitter on Treasury single account payments. Last Wednesday, Senator Dino Melaye raised a motion on the floor of the Senate arguing that the Treasury single account regime was being abused and mismanaged. He said the policy was being abused with the appointment of remitter and e-collection agent, as it was a gross violation of Section 162 of the Nigerian Constitution and the Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act. Melaye further stated that the CBN could only appoint a registered bank as an agent for collecting and disbursing the funds. However, documents including the service agreement between System Specs and CBN, as well as a letter to President Muhammadu Buhari, showed that not only was the commission charged backed by law, it is shared by the company, commercial banks and the CBN. Still on Treasury single account payments, Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose has said that he would not attend the meeting called by the federal government with state governors on the account. According to Fayose, the state government was not interested in the TSA policy. A press statement issued on Sunday by his special assistant on public communications and new media, Larry Olayinka, said that the TSA policy was a fraud against Nigeria and its people. He questioned the role of the identity of the owners of Remita, a company which he alleged that the All Progressives Congress APC was using to siphon funds to execute the Kogi and Bayelsa state governorship elections. Maintaining that he would not attend the federal government's meeting with state governors on the TSA, Governor Fayose noted that the federal government cannot force its policies on states that are federating units. Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha has called on all Nigerians to shun the issue of tribalism and focus on being a united nation. Speaking at the annual Radio Nigeria lecture, Okorocha urged Nigerians to learn to tolerate one another despite coming from different ethnic tribes and having different religious beliefs. Speaking further, Okorocha praised the change mantra implemented by President Muhammadu Buhari while also calling for the diversification of the Nigerian economy.
The issue of unity of our country is very key, and it's something that this change would have to address, and quickly too. If you go to Jos, there's what is called Angwa Ansawa. I don't know if you know about that, Sadona. You go to Kano, you have Sabongeri, where Igbos park themselves. You go to Were, he say Hausa, Amausa, in a nation where we profess unity, but yet a Lebanese man comes here, he's more accepted in the north than his brother from the southwest. An Indian man goes to Lagos, he's more accepted than an Hausa man in Lagos. I think we should, as a matter of urgency, address the issue of unity of this country. The change must also address the issue of the structure of governance in Nigeria. And like Mohammed, my brother, here you come. The way Nigeria is structured today, and this is what the change must take, is a very big federal government with a very small stomach called state government, with a very broom leg called local government. Can you imagine a man or a woman with a broom leg, with small bulging tummy, with a big head? You won't marry her. That's why nobody can marry Nigeria's economy. That's what I call the principle of kwashiorkorism in Nigerian economy. There's too much over-centralization of power in Nigeria. So whenever this big head is working, and there's breeze or wind of dropping oil price, then you see it moving like a galloping.
The All Progressives Congress on Monday launched the formal campaign of its flag bearer at the 2015 governorship elections in Bayelsa, Timipre-Silva. Led by its party leader John Oyego, the party was met by a huge crowd who were eager to show their support for the former state governor. In his address, Silva laid out the policies which his government aims to achieve, promising to work with the people.
I want to promise you something. One very important promise. I will not use your money to marry more wives. Me no go marry a wife. I will also promise that I will never take anybody's wife. Me no go take another man's wife. All that will go with this government. We are coming here to bring prosperity to you, to empower you, the people, especially the youth. Anytime I see you, my dear youths of Bayelsa, I worry, because it is our responsibility to look after you. You have the energy, you have the strength. We need to give you the opportunities to utilize that energy that God has given you. And that will be one of the cardinal focus of my administration. Government, especially democracy, is about the people. It is sometimes defined as government of the people, for the people, by the people. So this government is about you. I will not want to make you to become spectators in my government. If I build a flyover, you must have the cash to drive on the flyover.
The new General Manager Public Affairs of the Nigerian Port Authority (NPA), Captain Iheanacho Ebibe Ogu, has reiterated the organization's plans to link Tinkan Port with Apapa via rail in order to decongest Lagos roads of trailers carrying containers. The new Public Affairs helmsman made this known when revealing his plans for the Nigerian Port Authority.
And NPA keys into the national grid. And when I was making my statement on what we have done about infrastructure, for Port Harcourt and Lagos, we have rehabilitated all our rail lines up to our gate where we key into the national grid. If you have a rail line traversing into a terminal, one of these terminals, yes, they will have their gate. Where railway lines traverse a place, you must have a gate, even if it's outside the port. I remember in those days when we were students, normally if you go to any crossing or a causeway, you'll find that the gate will close on the side of the rail line. And then if the train is about to pass, that same gate will shut off the road, the road users with one red light showing you that a very big snaky thing is passing, unless you want to commit suicide. So possession is very, very important. And what the terminal operators are doing is, yes, if the train is not passing, why can't we cover the gate than making our terminals vulnerable because a rail line has passed there? But if the train is coming in to carry something from APMT, from Dangote, from ENL, whatever is the appropriate gate must certainly be opened. We have done a lot in tidying up the rail tracks within the ports of Lagos and Port Harcourt, where we presently have railroads. And very soon we shall be taking a management inspection of those rails to let the public know exactly what we have done.
Leaders from the Niger Delta part of Nigeria have cautioned the Buhari-led administration on the continuous neglect of the region and its people, saying such actions could snowball into another major crisis in the country. Two prominent leaders in the region have called on the government not to renege on its promises to the people of Ogoniland in particular and the entire region.
Successive governments in Nigeria have disappointed the Niger Deltans because of their total neglect of their responsibility. It's simply because government is only interested in the money that accrues from our oil while destroying the environment. And when you are talking about the environment, you talk of the aquatic environment that consists of the fauna and the flora that makes up the environment. Even the human population in the environment are under threat because certain diseases, infections, cancers and other associated diseases that can be linked up to the chemicals that are used in oil exploration. Yes, with the pollution are already manifesting among the Niger Delta. People are dying without even autopsy results are not bringing out anything, signifying that it is the cumulative effect of the exploit of the oil exploration that is leading to all these problems. It is clearly manifesting that the Niger Deltans will be extinct in the next 50 years. It will be an environment where no organism, even animals, cannot survive.
Nobody wants to address the Niger Delta issue. And that's why when the immediate past president was there, we all know the antics of the people who were in power with him. They blocked the issue of Niger Delta. And that's why some of us are just there watching, because it's one-time bomb that will explode one day and will put all of us in a very uncomfortable position. The Niger Delta is a calculation by a particular group to deny the indigenous, the people, the origins of Niger Delta, their rights. It's unfortunate. Because I saw, we all know what Mr. President said about you going to clean up, and then look at what has happened. Nothing so far. It's a scheme. It's unfortunate. And it's been backed, supported, and promoted by people from Nigeria. That's why we are worried. Some of us are worried.
Nigeria's presidency has denied claims by the country's main opposition party that it intends to rig the forthcoming governorship election in Kogi State in favor of the All Progressives Congress (APC). The People's Democratic Party (PDP) had raised an alarm over what it called plots by the ruling party and the presidency to rig the elections in favor of the APC. In response to the statement of the PDP, spokesperson for the president, Garba Shehu, said that the PDP's claims were false, insisting that the opposition party was determined to destroy all national institutions. He added that President Buhari said he was ready and prepared to take all actions against anybody or institution that harasses or intimidates electorates in the upcoming elections in Kogi and Bayelsa states. Nigeria's police force has finally established a complaint response unit that will address citizens' concerns and queries, especially those relating to police misconduct. Inspector General of Police Solomon Arashi officially commissioned the complaint response unit in Abuja. The 24/7 multi-platform is aimed at promptly addressing real-time complaints, concerns and queries regarding activities of officers and men of the Nigerian police force. The police force says the unit is with a view to ensuring that policing system in the country is on the same page with the present-day realities.
Today marks another milestone in my drive to bequeath to Nigeria a reformed, responsible and operational, potent and accountable police force. It is a day that the force is launching two critical components of policing: the rebranded, rekitted, refocused, re-equipped Special Anti-Robbery Squad and the newly established Nigerian Police Complaint Response Unit. Ladies and gentlemen, the motivation behind these initiatives are multiple. With regards to the rebranding of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, due cognizance was taken of the historical concerns of members of the public on the less than professional dress code of operatives of the squad nationwide, their unorthodox mode of operations, and the consistent accusation of flagrant abuses of human rights and absence of ethical standards in their operations. The fact is that these issues have also been of concern to successive leadership of the Nigerian police force. This is because, aside being a major source of public disdain for the force, these negatives also constitute sources of civil litigations and attendant huge garnishee orders hanging on the lean budgetary profile of the force.
The body of Nigerian Registered Political Parties Inter-Party Advisory Council of Nigeria (IPAC) has removed its secretary Godson Okoye and his deputy Razak Enyowawi for violating the council's code of conduct. An official statement signed by IPAC Publicity Secretary Ogbuechi Dike said the decision was the outcome of the meeting of its General Assembly on November 11 and 12 of 2015. The meeting, which had 21 political parties and the INEC Commission in attendance, had received a report from a committee set up earlier to determine cases of violations of political parties' code of conduct brought by the Executive Committee against Okoye and Enyowawi. The Political Parties Code of Conduct 2013 was designed and endorsed by Nigeria's registered political parties on the 16th of July 2013 to regulate their conduct and doubles as the governing regulation of the Inter-Party Advisory Council. We'll take a short break now. When we come back, we'll look at more news stories. Please don't go away.
Hello, you're welcome. You're watching the Funny White Man Show, which is the biggest, the brightest, and the most entertaining show in Africa.
Funny white man, funny white man, funny white man. But this is what you talk. It's too much. Give me 5,000 man. That's you. It's too much. So you get it like, when she move along the street, yeah, me should like that. I'm going girl. You know, my own people. Actually, yeah, fine. It's fun. I enjoy it, and I'm one of those very few. I'm forever taking it personal. I will say 160 million Nigerians are corrupt. How? Brother, I'm looking for you.
Yeah, but it's a growth, and this is the time to build business and know the pitfalls and know what to do and what not to do. But there are months where you get business and months.
You know how we do. How we train them. We did the way you did it.
Hello, you're welcome. You're watching Trending Matters on the Funny White Man Show. Of course, we will bring you trending issues just to entertain and tickle your fancy.
South African mobile phone firm MTN Group says Nigeria has pushed back a Monday deadline for it to pay a $5.2 billion fine for failing to cut off unregistered SIM cards until talks with authorities have been concluded. The planned fine has sent MTN stock prices plunging by more than a fifth since it was announced on October 26 and prompted the resignation of its chief executive. MTN, which has asked former chief executive Futuma Nleko to take charge for up to 6 months, is seeking to have the fine reduced and has been in discussions with high-ranking officials from the Nigerian Communications Commission and the Nigerian presidency for the past 2 weeks. Nigeria has been pushing operators to verify the identity of their subscribers concerned that unregistered SIM cards were being used for criminal activities in the country. Prices of oil and other commodities will come under renewed pressure on fears that Friday night's deadly attacks on Paris will further slow the global economy. Benchmark Brent rose 20 cents or 0.5% at $44.68 a barrel, having dropped 1% on Friday. Oil is already trading near its 6-year lows, and healthy demand has been a major factor preventing the prices from sliding any further amid a worsening global oil glut due to abundant supplies. At least 129 people were killed on Friday evening in a series of coordinated attacks on Paris, with Islamic State militants claiming responsibility for the carnage. A total of 23 people have been arrested and dozens of weapons seized in a series of raids on suspected Islamic militants across France. This is according to officials. The crackdown follows multiple attacks on bars, restaurants, a concert hall and a stadium in Paris on Friday, in which 229 people were killed. Belgian officials say two people were arrested on Saturday, have been charged with participating in a terrorist attack. They are among 7 people detained in Belgium over the weekend. 5 of them were later released, including Mohamed Abdesalam, the brother of 2 suspects, Brahim Abdesalam, killed during the attacks, and Salah Abdesalam, who is still on the run. On Sunday, French warplanes pounded Islamic State positions in Syria as people in Europe widened their investigations. Islamic State has claimed responsibility for Friday's suicide bombings and shootings, which have reignited a row over Europe's refugee crisis and drawn calls to block a huge influx of Muslim asylum seekers. France has been bombing Islamic State positions in Iraq and Syria for months as part of a US-led operation. Following Friday's mayhem, Paris vowed to destroy the group. Meanwhile, French Prime Minister Manuel Valls said Friday's attack by Islamic State militants in Paris were organized from Syria. Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta has criticized the International Criminal Court (ICC), saying his East African nation was tired of interference in its internal affairs. An earlier statement by the presidency said Kenyatta's criticism was aimed at foreign envoys. However, Kenya's State House later said the jab was directed at the ICC. The judges at the ICC this year withdrew charges against Kenyatta, whom they accused in 2011 of stoking ethnic violence after the 2007 presidential elections. Prosecutors blamed their failure to put Kenyatta on trial on political interference and widespread interference with witnesses, especially after Kenyatta was elected president in 2013. Kenyatta's deputy William Ruto, however, is still on trial at the ICC, facing similar but distinct charges. The ICC, set up in 2002 to deal with genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes and the crime of aggression, has been accused of witch hunting only African leaders. So far, only African leaders have been tried by the court. Moving on to sports news now, the home-based Super Eagles players have been paired with Tunisia, Guinea and Niger Republic in the Group C of the 2016 African Cup of Nations in Rwanda. The draw was held on Sunday in Kigali, with CAF Secretary General Hikam El Amrani conducting the draw. Meanwhile, hosts Rwanda were paired with Gabon, Morocco and Cote d'Ivoire in Group A, while Group B contains 2009 champions DR Congo, Angola, Cameroon and Ethiopia, with Zimbabwe, Mali, Uganda and Zambia battling it out in Group D. The 4th edition of the African Nations Cup will be played in Rwanda from January 16 to February 7, 2016. NFF President Amaju Pinnick has denied reports that the plane conveying the Nigerian Under-23 Olympic team had lost its engine mid-air, describing the event as a misunderstanding. According to reports, the Dream Team 6 narrowly escaped a plane crash on their way to Gambia after the Arik plane they were traveling on made an emergency landing in Accra due to unexpected technical difficulties. However, Pinnick has downplayed the severity of the problem. The Nigeria Under-23 delegation has since arrived and settled down in the Gambia, where the team is undergoing a 10-day training program. Former Trinidad and Tobago international David Nakid has launched an appeal at the Court of Arbitration for Sports over the decision of FIFA's Electoral Committee to disqualify him from next year's election. Nakid had submitted his bid to compete in February's election, stating that he had completed all the necessary requirements. But FIFA's Electoral Committee rejected his proposal due to the fact that an association which had supported his candidacy had already backed another candidate. Nakid has now filed an appeal at the Court of Arbitration, which he hopes will enable him to stand in the election to replace outgoing president Sepp Blatter in February. 5 candidates have so far been cleared by FIFA to contest in the elections. They are Prince Ali of Jordan, Sheikh Salman bin Ibrahim Al Khalifa, Jerome Champagne, Gianni Infantino, and Tokyo Sexwale. Well, we've come to the end of news now. We thank you very much for joining us. I am Thelma Okoro.